I just went out in the world today. Cigarettes and alcohol can return, no problems. On the way home, I'm hearing Conan O'Brien speaking to this guy Eric Idle, who's part of the Monty Python gang from England. And he's talking about how this Eric Idle guy he grew up in an orphanage. Probably his dad died in the war. There were a lot of people in orphanages back then. He was in the orphanages in the 50s there. And remembering hearing Elvis Presley and how it just changed his life. You know, like people like Elvis, he changed the Beatles. The Beatles changed the world. All this stuff, how it affects things way out there, and how growing up, he finds that Elvis is a huge fan of not only Monty Python, but seemingly in Eric Idle specifically. And Conan mentions, you know, I'm thinking it already, how special it is that someone that was an influence that was seemingly so far away from him growing up, how he can affect that. And it is a beautiful thing. People talk like you can't change anything. You just have to accept what it is. People say, oh, you get a strike on the YouTube. You can't do anything about it. But no, I got a strike the once. And I said, I just can't let this go. I didn't do anything wrong. And so I brought it up and I stated my case. And within like 3 hours, I got a notification. The thing is, it was coming up on 200 subscribers for me. I was at like 197. I'm like, well, I guess I'm never gonna get 200. But then 3 hours later, they answered, said, you're right. We've removed your ban and the video is okay. And I was like, hey, see, you can make a difference. And when it came back up, I hit 201. And it was like, wow, how exciting. Even while I was away, people were picking up on it. And just enjoying our time together. And today was in a liquor store. I looked, I heard something, I said, new subscriber. I said, oh, and I looked, and I went from 247. I thought it'd be 247. It was at 246 before. I was waiting for 250 to hit. And I looked, and I was at 251. So it banged up there when I wasn't looking. And look, there it is. Once again, not paying attention, and you miss a mile marker. But this thing about Conan O'Brien and Eric Idle and Elvis, the connection between these two guys. I've got a picture from when I was in Alaska in '93. I fished the boats, jumped off on Kodiak Island, lived there for about a month and a half, worked in the canneries, lived in the homeless shelter, and walked around in the wilderness looking for bears eating salmon berries. Never saw one. But there's a picture here. I guess you can look. It'll be hard for you to tell, but right there, there's a big splash. And this is when we had cameras. I was up on this high mountain cliff, and there was a big fucking rock sitting there, and I see, you know, I said, you know what? I'm gonna throw this big fucking rock down there and I'm gonna get a picture. And I picked up this big fucking rock and I hopped it over the cliff. I reached down and got my camera and I waited until it was about to hit the water. I'm like, and I took the picture and boom, I got the picture of it splashing, big fucking splash. when I got the film back, I was like, yeah, nailed it. That's what you could do with a camera in the olden days. Just hit it and it takes the picture. None of this focusing and you missed the shot already. But that represents to me, no matter what people say about how stuck we are in our ways, how we can't change anything, how we got no power. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. Maybe they're going to come and cut me down. But that, it represents that I could be all the way up here, this far away from something, and it's further away than you think. Those are big fucking rocks down in the water. You can make something happen. And maybe the most important part of that is not feeling like it must happen. Maybe it's just being able to enjoy the attempt. Let's just play around. Let's put a smile on that face. Big fucking rock.